Hi, and welcome to this Getting Started video. This is a part of our Getting Started video series that's meant to help you get started on your journey of recovery. And today we're going to be talking about step 2. So let's look at step 2 together. Step 2 says we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. In our last video, we talked a little bit about how we come to the 12 steps and the perspective shift we need to be able to get honest with ourselves and acknowledge that we are powerless over the effects of our separation from God and our lives have become unmanageable. So that's exactly the motivation we need to look at it for a power greater than ourselves, outside of ourselves. We look to God. This step is all about turning yourself in the direction of God. It's all about turning from a self-centered, self-focused life and turning to God. So, what do you need to work this step? Well, again, you're going to need humility, you're going to need honesty, and you're going to need openness. Oftentimes, one of the reasons that we are slow to turn to God is because we have a faulty perspective of Him. We view Him maybe through the lens of our parents, depending on the home we were raised in, depending on the things that we were told as children about God, or the people around us who were supposed to be demonstrating God's love to us, or maybe even an environment where we didn't grow up hearing or learning anything about God from our family, and we're only really introduced to ideas of Him through media and the culture. Either way, one thing is usually true, and that is that we've come to this step with either a limited understanding of God or a faulty perspective of Him. When I work this step, one of the things that's really helpful to me is to connect with a wound that I carried throughout a good portion of my life, which is around feeling misjudged and misunderstood. I had a lot of situations within my childhood and adolescence and early adulthood that led me to places where I constantly felt misjudged or misunderstood and felt like I was always having to explain myself into no end, because even when I tried, oftentimes people totally missed me. And what I realized when I first started working this step is that I've actually done that to God. I've made assumptions about Him based off of my experiences and other people, and I've ultimately believed things about Him that were not true. So this step does require an openness and a willingness to acknowledge that there may be things that you currently believe about God that prevent you from wanting to come to Him. We have to be willing within this step to re-engage in our relationship with God, to be open to the potential of learning new things about who He is, and ultimately starting to re-engage with our faith in Him. The good news is you don't have to have big faith to work this step. You just need a tiny mustard seed amount to get started. And so, when we move forward with step 1 and practically work step 1, this is a continuation of a perspective change. We stop looking to ourselves and we start looking to God. We start igniting and stirring up our faith by re-engaging with it and re-engaging with God. A simple prayer that can help you in step 2 is to just say, God, I want to know You as You truly are. Will You please help me to do that? One of the things that we can recognize in step 1 and step 2 is I'm not God, and I don't have the power or the ability to control my life and run my life the way that God designed me to. I was designed by God to do this with Him. And step 2 is a place where we start to engage in that relationship in new and fresh ways. So whether you've been walking with God for a long time, or whether this faith journey is new to you, this is an opportunity for you to re-engage with God and to get to know Him as He truly is, to get to know His characteristics, His nature, and His attributes, and to seek to find the places where you may be believing lies about Him or be misled. Now, this is what we need if we're going to honestly be able to start to take action. So again, this step is just a perspective change. It's shifting from self-focus to God-focus, starting to look outside of ourselves for help. And it's exactly what we need to be able to move on to step 3 and be willing to start to surrender.